If you've just tuned in, this is Living for the Streets on 98 FM, Ujima Radio, live on air. And it is the only LGBTQ show you should be listening to. No shade but shade, as I always say every week, okay? We've got a packed show for you as always. We've got an amazing guest returning to the hot seat, and this time we're not talking about coming out. We're talking about actually working with ourselves. We have got the wonderful Annie, who is a life coach, who is here with us in studio today. Let the people know you're here.
Good morning. Welcome.
How are you doing this morning?
Very, very well. Thank you, Mo. Yes, I'm doing very well, despite the fact I haven't had breakfast yet, just coffee. I forgot.
What are you guys doing? I don't understand that. Literally, I can't function if I don't have breakfast.
I woke up, rolled out of bed, got in the car, and now I'm here. That's what happened this morning.
Well, I just thought, because it's out of routine, because I actually came down last night and stayed in a hotel. Because I thought, you know what? Let's just make a big deal of this. Just, you know what? Just relax. Just live. You know, I like this. So we just stayed in the hotel. Oh. And so, out of routine, but it was a really cool hotel. We've got, like, takeaway cups for the coffee. So I think I got all, like, excited about the takeaway cups and forgot to have breakfast.
Did you have breakfast included?
It wasn't included, but I could have had breakfast. But I just got so excited about these takeaway mugs, the paper cups.
Yeah.
Like even when I go to like Starbucks, I sit in. I always have to have a takeaway cup. Do you not find it just tastes nicer out of the takeaway cup? It feels like you're spoiling yourself, right?
Yes.
Whereas a mug, you have that at home.
I love that. And this is what we do, guys. We talk about the mundane things that make us happy in life. But coming up, we will be talking more to Annie about what she does. What are your pronouns, by the way?
Her, she.
Her, she. Fantastic. They, them. What about you, Mowgli?
He, him.
He, him. Fantastic. We are going to get into the habit of getting our pronouns out there and normalising it, people.
I actually want to do it the other way around. I like what you did there. Him, he.
Okay.
It feels good. You know, it's like him, he. She, what did you say?
Just think about, is it chocolate? Hershey? Get it?
Hershey.
See what I did there?
Again, food. Thank you.
I forget breakfast. It's all about the Hershey.
Okay, Annie, let's get back into this. What inspires you to be a life coach?
What inspired me?
Yeah. I know we've talked a bit about, you know, where you basically that script that we are given,
right,
and that we follow, and then, you know, at some point you realise that that's not for you.
Right.
At what point did you decide that this is not for me, but also this is what I want to do? I want to be a life coach.
So it was when I basically was stuck. Back in 2015, I was stuck, and I decided to coach myself. I didn't recognise what I was doing, but I coached myself. So I got to a place where I had gone to the other side, as I call it. I'd gone to the light. I saw the light. And I changed completely, literally 180'd my life. I moved country. I changed jobs, everything.
Ooh, where did you move to?
Because, well, I moved from England to Wales. Different country, right? Sounds dramatic there, right?
You added that. That was good. That was nice.
Yeah. I know what you mean. I live in a different country.
There you go.
Yeah, Wales.
It feels good. You've only just got that, haven't you? Oh, my goodness. He needs breakfast.
I know. I just thought it was funny because Mo's also in Wales. You both go to Wales, guys.
Yeah, and we're both life coaches. So there
you are. Bless you. What's Wales offering? Yes, Wales.
Surfing, hiking, mountain biking.
You can surf in Wales?
Yeah.
Stop it.
For real.
Cheaper rent.
Wow.
Listen, I'm living my best life. It's called
Let's go to
life
Wales. Sorry.
So I coached myself to my best life is what I did. And I then thought about jobs. I was always happy in my job.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't happy, but I wasn't unhappy, right? And I got to a point where I was like, I'm not happy doing this. So if I'm not happy doing this, what do I want to do?
Yeah.
And I thought, what am I really passionate about? Because I'm a very passionate person. I'm a very excitable, very passionate person. And I thought, the only thing I can think that I'm really passionate about is the way I've transformed my life.
Yeah.
And I thought, but that's not a job. That's ridiculous. That's not a job, is it? And then I was watching one of these, sorry to say, like one of these housewives about Atlanta or whatever, and something came up in there about a life coach, and then they briefly explained what a life coach did. And I immediately went, that's it. That's my job. Yeah. And so I literally had a 12-month plan to how I was going to basically train and search for a course and retrain and be a life coach. And everything slotted into place because I was due to leave my job as a pharmaceutical rep. And fortunately, I was wanting more time to build the business. And the irony of this is I was sat in, I think I was in a coffee shop or wherever, and I said to somebody, you know what, I really need some time just to build this business so when I qualify, it's all set up. And I just, the following week at work, they called a video conference and said, guys, we're making you redundant. I was jumping off the ceilings. Everyone was like, Annie, you are the happiest redundant person I've ever seen. I was like, hell yeah. And honestly, my life is genuinely ask and you shall receive.
Yes.
And I just want, the reason why I wanted to retrain is because I want everyone to feel how I feel, which is I feel like I am living my best life because I am. I'm doing the things that I want to do now. I'm not doing things that other people want me to do or expect me to do. People expect these things of you, and they're not the things that I want. They're not the things that make me happy. And I'm doing that now, and I want to really help others to recognise that and to do that. So if you just go to YouTube, I'm doing a series of episodes called Just Think About It, because these are little things where I just want you to just stop and think. Just stop and think, So just go onto YouTube and type in ANCA Life Coaching and have a look.
After the show.
And don't forget.
I know, where's tempted?
Subscribe and turn on your alerts.
Share with all your mates.
Yeah.
Sharing is caring.
Literally. It is. And it's really amazing that you say that because I really resonate with that. And, that moment where everything just clicks and you're like, this is not what I want to be doing. And you find what it is that you want to be doing. And also, it's also important to say that life coaching is not just for the rich.
No.
It's for everybody. It's like therapy. We're starting to have that conversation about how therapy is important and everybody should have therapy, whether you've had trauma or not. Life coaching, I would argue, is the same.
100%.
You might think that you're not stuck. You might feel that you're not stuck, but there's nothing wrong with seeing a life coach and seeing if there's more.
You say you don't have to be rich, Mo, and I'm hearing that, but I'm also hearing in my head thinking, hang on, I do know a lot of people that are struggling financially, and the thought of having a life coach would be just a thought because they're like, well, I can't afford that, because you do have to pay, really.
You do.
And it's a difficult thing because obviously I work in the kind of area of supporting people's lives, and it's like, where do you find that place where you want to make this a career, you want to make this your life purpose, but you need to pay your bills, you need to pay this, and you want to help people. And so there's this trap that we find ourselves in as people who want to facilitate. We want to do it so that we can get to the people who really need it. I mean, we all need it. You're right. What were you saying was completely right. We all need it. But those people without the financials, what do we do? How do we support those people?
Well, I'm going to say that we will talk about that because I've got some things, and I'm sure, Annie, you might agree with me when I mention certain things, but we're going to take a break. This is going so quickly already. Juicy conversations. I mean, what more do you want from us on a Monday morning?
Breakfast. Just saying. I'm just saying.
You had to go there.
You're kidding me. I love it.
Well, we're going to sort out the breakfast, don't you worry. Hello, and we are back. I hope you enjoy that. Legendary by the legendary Tenny. We are back. This is Living for the Streets live every Monday, 10 till 12 on Ujima 98 FM. And as we were having a little break, we had a wonderful little message come in. And I'm hoping Blondie, our wonderful techie for today, who's doing very well, if you could read that out for us, please.
Hello. So yeah, we've got a message from Rue Burrows, and the whole thing says, loving the show today, and what Annie said about coaching yourself. Oh, let me just move the mouse. How do you recommend going about repositioning your perspective to be more positive towards yourself when you are struggling with a mental health relapse / loss of faith in your journey? Rue, kiss, kiss. So,
Nice.
What do we think?
So what was the first part of the question?
I'll reread it, yeah. So, Rue's asking, how do you recommend going about repositioning your perspective to be more positive towards yourself when you are struggling with a mental health relapse / loss of faith in your journey?
Okay, so positivity and lack of faith in your journey. So positivity, start with thinking about and really, really taking note of the things you say. We without realizing, we program ourselves.
Yeah.
Okay? So what we need to start thinking about is how we're doing that. And we do that by the things we think, which then come out of our mouths. Yeah? So what you need to do to start being more positive is listen. Just start listening to the things that you say and start hearing the things that you're thinking about. If they're not positive, challenge yourself. And I actually did this. I was so acutely aware of the things that I was thinking, the things that I was saying. I would literally stop and I would say to myself, oh my gosh, I'm so rubbish at maths.
Yeah.
And I thought, hang on, stop. You're so rubbish at maths. Okay. Am I rubbish at maths though? 1 and 1, 2. Are you rubbish at maths? No, you're lying to yourself.
Literally.
You're lying to yourself. So what would be better and what's more useful than saying to myself, I'm rubbish at maths? It's better and it's more useful for me to say to myself, I could do with developing my math skills.
Yeah.
So it's real. And if you did this genuinely, and I did this for a period of maybe a month where I just kept listening to what I was saying to myself and kept listening to what I was thinking. So if I was thinking, I really can't be bothered to go out this weekend, I just can't. Oh, hang on a minute. I can't be bothered to go out this weekend. Okay, so what you're saying is you can't be bothered to live in the world, is what you're saying, Annie. So, okay, how can you change that?
Yeah.
Yeah? How can you make that more positive and more useful for yourself? Yeah? And you can say to yourself, do you know what? I feel like I'm going to go out for 2 hours today and mix with my friends.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to spend the rest of the weekend loving me, pampering myself.
This is it.
Right? And so you're doing a bit of both.
Yeah.
Right? As opposed to saying, I can't be bothered.
Yeah.
What you're telling yourself is you're demotivated and you're not interested in life, is what you're telling yourself. And if you tell yourself you can't be bothered and you're uninterested in life, every weekend you'll spend saying, I can't be bothered to do this, I can't be bothered to do that. It's not proactive. It's not going to get you where you actually want to go.
It's so true, and I completely agree with you. And I think as well, and I always say this to people when I go to do workshops and stuff like that, if you are looking for the Instagram coach that's going to be like, wear that dress, girl, yes, and like, flaunt it, let him know you can't have it, you are in the wrong place. I am a gangster coach. That's why I tell people, like, you have to get real, and like that positivity is, I could do with developing my math skills. That's like noticing where the issue is. It's not that you're bad at maths, it's the fact that there's parts of it that needs to be developed. Just like we are as humans, parts of us need to be developed at different stages of our lives. And I can't be bothered to go out for the weekend. Instead, I'm going to go out for a few hours, see my friends, and I'm going to come home and do me. I remember when I used to work in corporate, and like we used to have the Friday Zoom calls to be like, oh, what's everyone doing for the weekend? I was already getting ready, like cameras off, nothing is working, sorry you can't see me. And people are like, so what are you doing for the weekend, man? I'm like, I'm spending time with myself. That's literally what I would say, and they'd be like, oh, okay. Like that meant, they didn't know what that meant, because they're all thinking about, I don't want to go and get drunk, I don't want to do all those things and have a hangover on Sunday and then have to be thinking about the fact that I've got to go to work on Monday. I don't want to do that, but I do want to go out and mix. I'm going to do it my way. And my way means I'm just going to show myself some self-love and some self-care, and that's it.
Right.
I love that. Mo. And you know what? Just to add on to that, is that to add on to that is basically, I really love what you said about words and the fact that we can not realise really what we're vocalising. So when I heard the 4 agreements, I'm not sure if you've heard about it, it's a book about it's 4 agreements, and one of them is be impeccable with your word, and it's something that I'm trying to practice, and it's something I'm much more aware of now. It becomes a practice, right?
Okay, let me stop you right there.
Okay.
So you're saying something you're trying to practice?
Yeah.
Listen to your language.
Yeah.
You either do it or you don't. If you try, that's mediocre, man.
Thank you.
No one wants mediocre.
Thank
Exactly.
you.
Right?
Yeah.
And you don't want mediocre.
Absolutely
I know that.
not.
You've just told me. That's told me you're trying to do things.
Yeah.
You don't want mediocre. You just don't know how to do it.
I
And
think-
this is why I'm here, man.
Thank you. And I am feeling blessed.
Hello. We are back for the second hour. If you've missed the first hour, if you're wondering, what have I just tuned into? What's going on? This is 98 FM Ujima Radio, and we are live, and this show is Living for the Streets. It is an LGBTQ show curated and for the black and brown community, as always, but we welcome everybody. Obviously, our team is a complete diverse team, and I'm very happy to have you all here. We have also got our wonderful guest Annie, who is a life coach. It's so exciting. It's just really nice, and hopefully if you've just joined in, stay tuned, continue to listen. We are also going to be doing some news about what's happening out there in the world, and we're going to be talking some history about life coaching and kind of what it is or what we found out about it, and we're obviously going to continue on with our interview with Annie. Now, I know there was a second part to the question that the texter sent a message in. Could I ask you just to read that message one more time for anybody who's just joining in who might not have heard it?
Of course, my love. So the first part of the question was, how do you recommend going about repositioning your perspective to be more positive towards yourself when you are struggling with a mental health relapse / loss of faith in your journey? So I'm guessing the second part of the question is, how do you take that same approach with a loss of faith in your life or in your journey?
Yeah, so a loss of faith in your journey. So I read something not so long ago which said pretty much you are the average of the 5 people that you spend most of your time around. Yeah. And so what I did, certainly, and it worked for me, and it's worked for other people, certainly that I've coached, which is really start looking about who are you surrounding yourself with?
Yes.
Who are you
Who's your
surrounding
circle?
yourself with? Because you need to think about who they are. You need to think about what their beliefs are. What are their values? You know, you need to think about, how are they with you? How do they react with you? How do they respond to you? Because if you've got people around you that are being negative and are not supporting you, then you might want to question if you need or want those people around you. I would argue that it's great to have people around you that support you.
Yeah.
Yeah? People that are positive, people that want themselves to move forward. If you want to be positive, move yourself around positive people. You know, funnily enough, one of the other things my mum used to say to me is, if you mix with cream, you'll float. Remember that. Remember that.
Very true. And I would also add on there is that look at the people who are around you, but also remember that friendships and connections all have different levels. We have friends for different things, and some you just can't mix some of it. And it's okay to have different groups of people for different things, but then understand that that can't be mixed. If you've got your friends who love to go out, ready at a drop of a hat to go out and do, maybe they're not the ones to talk about when you're feeling a bit down, because maybe their whole responds to that, and it's not, that's not right or wrong. That's just how they live their life, and they're happy doing that. Of let's just go out, have a few drinks, that's fine. But understand that if you're going to that person, that's probably what your response is. And if that's not what you want to do, take a look around and maybe speak to other people and see what else they're saying. And every advice is advice. It's not something you have to take on board.
Can I reflect?
Yeah.
Can I throw something in there? Again, so there might be some listeners that might be thinking, but I don't have anyone around me right now. Have you got any advice on how to invite the right kind of people for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're not around anybody, I would question that, because does that sound real, that you're not around anybody?
Or rather than anybody, maybe you're finding yourself around a lot of people. So I've got, for instance, the reason I'm asking is I've got a few people that I know that are finding themselves around the wrong kind of people for them.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So rather than not around anybody, I love this because you are making me think about my words. Around the wrong people then. Sometimes we get stuck into a group of people and then we realise, oh no, these aren't healthy for me. But then you can't see past that circle of people you find yourself in.
Okay.
So
you can't see past that circle of people that you're in. What you need to do is question yourself and think to yourself, what kind of person do I want to be around? And that's the thing, and that's a lot of the time, that's the thing people don't ask themselves. And it happened again. And this is why I'm so passionate about what I do, because these are the things that happen to me. And I've gone through it, and I've coached myself, and I'm out the other end, and I'm trying to help others. And I'm not just trying, I am.
Yeah.
I've done it.
Exactly.
I've got proof.
Yeah.
I'm living proof, not just me, others.
Yes.
Yeah? And so this is my thing. It's about... what did you say? I've lost my train of thought now.
So that when you find yourself in the wrong crowd...
Yeah, you've got to ask yourself, who do I want to surround myself with? What kind of person do I want to be? Yeah, if you want to be a comedian, you think, I want to be a comedian, start surrounding yourself with comedians because they'll inspire you to get to where you want to go. If you want to be on TV, being a comedian, be around comedians. You'll hear that language, you'll hear their journeys, you'll get inspiration, you'll be motivated. And that's the same with the listener before. Surround yourself with people, if you want to stay on your journey, that are going to support your journey. Don't stay around people that are not going to support your journey. Think about what you talk about, this journey, that listener that wrote in or texted in about their journey. What is your journey? What do you want to achieve in that journey? And think about that. Yeah, people spend so much time, and you must have had, I'm sure a lot of you listeners out there have had people and friends that have got married, right? And they spend 2 years planning a wedding.
Yeah.
I'm talking, these people know exactly what shop they're getting their dress from, the handbag, the shoes, the tissue to wipe their nose, they know how much it costs, right? And they spent 2 years planning this. You ask someone, how long have you spent planning your life?
Yeah.
Wow.
How much detail have you put into planning your life? Right? And this is the worst thing. Look at the stats. When people get married, 1 in 2 marriages fail. So people have plowed in all this energy and detail into something that is risky.
Yeah.
Right? It's risky. Now, your life isn't a risk. Your life is something that you live.
It's a gift.
Let's think about it, guys. Think about it. Just think about it. Maybe consider it.
And can I also add that, we can be afraid of being alone, but sometimes we need to be okay with being alone so that we can let go of those people that aren't right for us. Because in those times of letting go, we do become alone. But it's a beautiful thing, because then we can hone in on, right, now I can see, because you're able to see through your own eyes rather than those around you that are kind of clouding that, know? So don't be afraid to have that moment in life when you're alone, because nothing lasts forever, Right. So
Very, very true. Go on, yeah?
Yeah, so in terms of what you're saying about that, about, being alone, I think it's hugely important that people are okay and are settled and feel good when they are alone, because no matter what you choose to think about in life, you need to understand yourself in every aspect to enable you to see the world clearly, you need to understand yourself and your own journey moving forward. And that is the best advice I can give. Really interrogate yourself, and that's what coaching's about. It's about asking very powerful questions for people to start understanding and really learning and gaining clarity and direction and focus for what they really want, what they actually want.
And this is it. And I think, Mowgli, you might remember this when I did the workshop at your festival.
It was beautiful.
And I was saying about, you were just saying about, it's okay to be alone. And I always say to people, that is absolutely fine. But also remember that there is a fine balance, because sometimes we try and ask ourselves questions, but we're not asking those powerful questions because we don't want to answer them. And sometimes it's being with the right people and knowing that, okay, this is what I want to do. So I've got to surround myself around these people. And they will just naturally ask you certain questions that you are refusing to look at in yourself.
Right.
And that will open up that moment for you to be like, I need to understand what my purpose is. When somebody says, what's your purpose for doing this? And you can't answer that question, that's the time to think and be like, what is my purpose?
And then that's what you call a powerful question.
Yes.
A powerful question is a question that forces someone to stop and think. If they haven't automatically got an answer, that's a powerful question right there. That's power.
Yeah. I completely agree. I think something that people need to understand is pre-colonial times, black queer people were seen as advisors. We sat in places of power, positions of power. We had multiple gay monarchs all across all of Africa. Queer people were seen as the mediums between this world and the spiritual world, and we were the ones that people came to for advice, which is why I was like, you as a black queer lesbian coming on and being a life coach, me as a black queer person who's also a life coach, it's like, how much of us is actually going back into the roots of who we really are actually.
With the sexualization, we've got into prides with so much more work to be done. And what are we doing? We're walking down and we're just drinking and celebrating and partying. And that's great. It has its place. But we've got so much work to do. So can we use prides to really actually start focus on these countries that need our support and our help? That's what I had to say for that moment.
Well, yeah.
I feel like there's no agenda.
Yeah.
Which is the problem. Right? There's no chart for this, right? There's no...
We need a gay agenda.
Right. We need to know. No, this is true. And this ties in so well with coaching. It honestly does. This is why I talk about life coaching.
Yes.
Because it's life, right? And you need a clear plan. You need a robust, very detailed, rock solid, bulletproof plan. What is the agenda for the gay community, though?
Yes.
Yeah. Who's responsible for that agenda? Yeah. Who feeds into that agenda? And when is that agenda getting triggered? When is it starting?
Yes.
Who's involved? When is it going to start? How is it going to pan out? What's it going to look like? What's it going to sound like? What's it going to feel like to have this agenda there? And who's going to be involved in it? Because in my mind, any kind of plan and agenda needs lots of people involved in it. And that's what we need to do. We need someone needs to start a real open dialogue in terms of getting an agenda together so that everyone is on the same platform. And I mean everyone in this country can get on board with that. All the different, societies you've got, they need to all come together and
whether
say,
you identify
let's all sing on the same hymn sheet.
Whether you identify as queer or not.
Right.
Because
what do we want as a community?
That's the other thing that we have, isn't it? It's the fact that, when I speak to black people in particular, they're like, I don't have no problem with the queer community or anything like that. You guys do you, like it's not an issue whatsoever. But when it comes to putting your name on the ballot so that we can make changes, you don't do it. Because you just believe that it's them.
You're separate then.
Yeah. All of a sudden, you ain't got time for that. But here we all are fighting for human rights.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what? That's the thing, though. Listen to this. What human rights? In what way?
Wait.
In what way? We need to make this language accessible. We need to make it understandable. Human rights in what way? And these are the things. Because it seems to me, even with Black Lives Matter, it was the same things. There's this big narrative about things. Things need to change. Things need to. what exactly, specifically, what's changed?
Yeah.
You know, what is the change? You know?
State by state. Because it's not the same everywhere.
Yeah.
It's state by state. We can have one agenda, but there's got to be multiples of it because we have to work within our means. The agenda for Black Lives Matter, for example, is very different in, say, somewhere like the Republic of Ireland to somewhere like America or the UK. Because what we're living with is completely different. And it's like people don't understand that bit of it. And, you know, growing up in Ireland, people are like, oh my God, you must have faced so much racism. I'm like, I didn't. But as soon as people knew that I was queer, that changed the game. That changed, that was the bit that people were like, no. No. Black, we can take that. That's not a problem. But you being openly and happily queer,
how dare you?
Yeah, how dare you do that? Which is not what you want at all.
No,
you know, and it's amazing. But before we wrap up,
wow,
because we are going to start doing the announcements and what's coming up next. Annie, I want to thank you so much for being here with us today.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
It's always amazing. I want you to tell the people, where can we find you? What's your website? Say it again for the people who've not been listening or who just joined in.
Okay, so for all those who didn't listen in the beginning and didn't go onto YouTube and didn't go onto my website, here it is again. Okay, so I'm Annie. I'm a life coach. I help people that are stuck. Okay, people that are ambivalent about life, anything in life, no matter what it is. Come to me and I can help you move forward and achieve those goals. Please find me on my website, ANCAlifecoaching.co.uk. ANCA, spelled ANCA. My name's Annie Campbell. It's the first two letters of my first name and the first two letters of my surname. Or jump onto YouTube, type in ANCA Life Coaching. You can find me in LinkedIn. Again, ANCA Life Coaching. Please do. I look forward to seeing you soon because you will go onto my YouTube channel and you will go onto my website. See you soon.